1,000 distortions, and they were all intentional.
Hey neighbor, welcome back to ARTV. My name is John, and today I'm reviewing the 4th album by the Welsh pop-punk band Neck Deep, All Distortions Are Intentional. My ties to this group date back to 2015 with their electrifying sophomore outing Life's Not Out to Get You. It's personally one of my favorite pop-punk albums probably of all time, and it features some headbanging riffs, thrilling drums, and cutting raw vocals from Ben Barlow that sort of got lost in translation on the album after that. 2017's The Peace and the Panic definitely wasn't a big cause for alarm, considering there's hella catchy songs lining the track list from Parachute to the already seen classic In Bloom, but I guess I just had a hard time adjusting to their more polished sound in the studio. Then in the summer of 2019, She's a God released as a standalone single to let us know that their singer was no longer single, and I guess it was sweet-ish, but in kind of a nauseating way, like if you ate a ton of candy until your stomach hurt. Spoiler alert, that flame is still burning strong and carried over to All Distortions, even if that track didn't, and my expectations were pretty low going in, considering the lead single Lowlife actively annoyed me. After a 3-year gap between records, are Neck Deep here to reclaim their throne as the band to beat in the modern wave of pop-punk, or was the writing on the wall all along as we headed into album 4? It's a complicated answer, and without giving too much away right out of the gate, give me a minute to explain and give me a like on this review. It's my 1000th, for Christ's sake. With my 2 songs only before an album drops rule, I only put ears on the lead track Lowlife and When You Know, neither of which were grade A material, but the latter of those had a big heart. It was kinda irresistible in a way. I was just concerned that the catchy hooks I was hearing were a fleeting high. Neck Deep are killer at writing memorable choruses, and if that element was missing, well, shit, there went 50% of your appeal. Don't freak out too much, there's a lot of songs that stick like glue on All Distortions to light up your ears and roll down your car windows too. But honesty time, the first element I noticed that's almost the elephant in the room at this point, it's Ben's vocal performances. Like, dude, are you okay over there? Most of this record sounds like he's pushing his voice into a higher register that is low-key unflattering and off-putting. I just don't get how he's getting older and the vocals are getting higher and more nasally. Maybe he's Benjamin Button, not Barlow. I guess I just thought the Fountain of Youth would make you sound better, not worse, but oh well. There's some throttling musical moments here that are well played for sure. A lot of air guitar energy flowing out of some of the biggest highlights, but the drumming, I can't help but feel like they're doing Danny Washington dirty somehow. This guy is extremely skilled, but I feel like the walls of this record keep him stuck with a learner's permit instead of a license to thrill. Matt Squire produced this record. He's got a respectable enough track record to some, but I've never been a huge fan considering I see him as this bridge between the rock world and then crossover appeal for the pop market. Sometimes it works out and the smoothie comes out tasting fresh, but his work with Neck Deep feels like a dose of half and half that leaves with this lingering feeling of wanting something more. Maybe I'm sounding overdramatic, I'm really not trying to be, but there's just some sonic changes that are hard to accept as a longtime fan, and it's almost even more aggravating because it's not like this is some sort of obvious cash-out move to the mainstream or even a middle finger to their roots. It's just safe, for lack of a better word, both musically and in terms of the pale white walls lyrically. There's an overabundance of cheesy love songs on the album. There, I fucking said it. It's out in the open. Some of them are stronger than others. What Took You So Long is cute as hell. I mean, he's basically singing to his lover saying, where have you been my whole life? I've been patiently waiting over here, but it's gotta be a neat twist. But the music is just so milquetoast and unoriginal. And now that I'm saying it, I feel like that's definitely a recurring problem. It's either the music or the lyrics. They can't seem to get on the same page. Mellowing out with age as romance blooms and angst fades is natural. But Distortions doesn't always sound like it's ready to slow down. Call it a growing pain or a misstep, but the album tends to accidentally wander off the path and daydream away, which kinda makes sense considering the topic of infatuation. It just sadly splits itself down the middle and makes fans choose which side they want to jump to. On the upswing, I will repeat myself and say that there's some hella catchy, fun, breezy, feel-good tunes that I will absolutely be keeping in rotation throughout the summer and beyond. When they hit a stride of infectious energy, they don't miss and feel invincible on some of the big standouts like Fall and Pushing Daisies. So don't think for a second this is like a garbage sack ready to be tossed in the landfill. There's really not anything worth hating at all. It's just hard to shrug off the fact that there's definitely some wasted opportunity. Sonderland is a made-up place that exists in the world of Neck Deep, and they named the opening song on the record that. From the second the opening electric strums break the sound barrier, a positive outlook battles the gloomy reality that begs the question, does it get better than this? Just picture yourself having one of those nights laying under the ceiling fan, looking up, just thinking out loud. It's just really relatable and it hammers itself home without feeling forced, and the music is great to boot. Some sharp guitar and drum work pops off there, and Ben gives one of his best vocal showings on Sonderland, which gracefully fades into the 2000s as fuck beauty Fall. I'm gonna be honest here, this song makes me smile so fucking huge. It's like jumping into a pile of leaves that leads to a wonderland of all of your best memories in life. The band nail it down with a classic Neck Deep vibe, and there's not much I could really offer even with a super critical eye. Even if I was trying to find something, it just gets better the more I hear it. This is it, boys. Swing the pendulum elsewhere and your vision starts to blur a bit, stopping off at a peaceful serenade Little Doves that's actually really charming and well played, but also we have the normie cringe Lowlife and the overtly run-of-the-mill I Revolve Around You that does have some solid sounds, including the bridge. I really like the bridge on that track, but they're really just prime examples of this album's more tame instincts. Telling Stories really struggles lyrically and doesn't balance its intro well at all. Empty House drops the ball and gets way too thoughtless without ever really finding a purpose for existing beyond sounding whiny. And the interlude Quarry will leave you scratching your head wondering, why is this here? And why is Ben adding his name to this growing list of people who have tried to hit this SoundCloud rapper cadence in a really unflattering way? Thankfully, there's some other gems to point your way, with one of those being Sick Joke. The guitar tone strikes like a fusion of the UK rockers' Basement and their own signature sound, going a lot harder than some of the surrounding moments and vetting frustration in a down-to-earth, tangible manner. Pushing Daisies is absolutely a banger too, closing out the album of course, but not going down without a fight. They've grown sick of the mundane, of the ordinary, and make a really solid point in that we're all gonna die someday, so why are we all putting so much energy into fighting with strangers that we're never gonna meet? Just live your life and fuck the system. They're capable of making much stronger records, and unfortunately this easily takes the cake as their worst to date, but I have a feeling if you're just starting a new relationship, or if you prefer a bit of sappiness in your diet, it's gonna appeal to you more than it did me. I'll give Neck Deep's fourth album, All Distortions Are Intentional, a 3 out of 5. So apparently this was my 1000th full-length album review, minus redemption reviews, I got it wrongs, and roundup episodes. Thank you to my longtime viewer Jeff Emerson, who's kept up with that playlist for years now. Check it out, link down below, celebrate by getting this review to 1,000 likes, and comment the first review that you ever saw. Also hit me with your take on this Neck Deep record and check out my review of their last album by tapping here. A top 10 Neck Deep will happen in the future, and I'll be back soon with more on ARTV.